सभी को नमस्कार। माननीय मंत्री जी का आगमन हो चुका है और वो प्रदर्शनी और ये परिसर को देखते हुए यहाँ पे उनका आगमन होगा। आप प्लीज़ बैठे रहिए। I would like to request all to please be seated. Honorable Minister is on campus and he is just visiting our exhibition, and then he'll be coming here within a minute. So please be seated. Thank you. माननीय मंत्री जी श्री जितेंद्र सिंह जी का यहाँ पर आगमन हुआ है। आप तालियों के साथ उनके स्वागत करिए। उनके साथ डॉक्टर सतीश रेड्डी जी और स्वामी श्रीकांतानंद जी भी है। सभी का कैंपस पे स्वागत है। अधिवेशन में आपका स्वागत है।
विज्ञान और अध्यात्म के इस सेशन में माननीय मंत्री डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह जी, रामकृष्ण मठ पुणे के अध्यक्ष श्रीकांतानंद जी महाराज और डॉक्टर सतीश रेड्डी जी का मंच पर स्वागत है। विज्ञान और अध्यात्म, इसकी भूमिका विज्ञान भारती की एक मूल बिंदु में से एक है। आज सुबह से विकास की भारतीय अवधारणा और विज्ञान भारती की भूमिका पर आदरणीय सुरेश सोनी जी का भाषण हुआ और इसी सिलसिले में आज हमारा सौभाग्य है कि इस सेशन में बहुत स्वामी श्रीकांतानंद जी महाराज जो रामकृष्ण मठ पुणे के अध्यक्ष हैं, वो हमारे आगे भाषण देंगे और इस सेशन में ही माननीय मंत्री मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट इंडिपेंडेंट चार्ज फॉर साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी एंड मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट फॉर इंडिपेंडेंट चार्ज मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ अर्थ साइंस, MOS, PMO एंड पर्सनल एंड प्रोग्राम एंड PMO के डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह जी भी उपस्थित हैं। वैसे तो 2014 में हमारा पहला राष्ट्रीय अधिवेशन हुआ था नागपुर में। उस समय मंत्री होके कुछ ही समय के बाद तुरंत माननीय जितेंद्र सिंह जी हमारे उस अधिवेशन में आए थे और उस समय से लेकर अभी तक जितेंद्र सिंह जी का पूरा हमें सपोर्ट मिला है विज्ञान भारती की इस यात्रा में। आज तो आईएएसएफ के लिए भी इतना बड़ा योगदान जितेंद्र सिंह जी के द्वारा हमें मिलता रहता है हर साल, और ये हमारा सौभाग्य है। और हम कि इस घड़ी पर भी विज्ञान भारती का ये छठवां जो राष्ट्रीय अधिवेशन पुणे में संपन्न हो रहा है, उस समय हम जानते हैं कि कल अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योगा दिन था, श्रीनगर में कार्यक्रम था, और स्वयं मोदी जी वहाँ थे। तो उस जम्मू में है, वो जम्मू कश्मीर में है, इसलिए वहाँ के सांसद भी हैं। इस कारण से बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी जितेंद्र सिंह जी पर थी। फिर भी वो सब संपन्न होने के बाद आज दिल्ली में भी कुछ कार्यक्रम था, उसके बाद आए हैं और थोड़ा तुरंत जाएंगे भी। तो फिर भी समय निकाल के जितेंद्र सिंह जी आए, इसके लिए विज्ञान भारती की ओर से आपका स्वागत है। प्रकाश धोका जी को मैं निमंत्रण करता हूं कि माननीय मंत्री जी का स्वागत करें। श्री कंतानंद जी महाराज, आज मेरी विनंती है कि विज्ञान भारती के आदरणीय राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष शेखर मांडे जी का भी मंच पर आगमन हो। पूज्य श्री कंतानंद जी महाराज रामकृष्ण मठ पुणे के अध्यक्ष, आदरणीय अध्यक्ष हैं। स्वामी 81 में कॉमर्स में ग्रेजुएशन के बाद 82 में रामकृष्ण मठ में उन्होंने ज्वाइन किया और लगभग 5 साल बेलूर मठ में थे। 87 टू 2009 हैदराबाद के रामकृष्ण मठ के अध्यक्ष थे और 2011 से पुणे रामकृष्ण मठ के अध्यक्ष के नाते वहाँ कार्यरत हैं। और हमारा सौभाग्य है कि इस विषय पर साइंस एंड स्पिरिचुअलिटी, इस विषय पर बोलने के लिए आज श्री कंतानंद जी महाराज यहाँ पधारे हैं। मैं विनंती करता हूँ कि मायंक बरजातिया पुष्प और शॉल से उनका स्वागत करें। We also have Dr. L. Satish Reddy, former Secretary Defense R&D and former Chairman DRDO, Government of India, former Scientific Advisor to Raksha Mantri. He was the Scientific Advisor to Raksha Mantri during Manohar Parikarji's time and presently President of Aeronautical Society of India. As the President of this, this particular session, I request Sandeep Kotarkar ji to welcome Dr. Satish Reddy ji. former president of Vigyan Bharati and our mentor, and who needs no introduction in Pune, Dr. Vijay Bhatkarji. I so औपचारिकता के इस पर विजय भटकर जी का भी स्वागत करता हूं। Just now, while talking to the Honorable Minister, Vishwanath Karatji was explaining how many of institutions are built and are focusing on science and spirituality. We are fortunate that Vishwanath Karatji has also, from his very busy schedule, found time, and here on this dais, we welcome Vishwanath Karatji also to this function. अपने आदरणीय राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर शेखर मांडे जी भी इस मंच पर हैं। शेखर मांडे जी का भी स्वागत इस सेशन में करते हैं। A small anecdote. King Janak, not the father of Sita, another king. He was running his kingdom very well. His citizens were very happy. One day he had a dream, and in his dream, he was fighting. He was being invaded by the neighboring kingdom. He was vanquished, driven off. He had to go around to another place, begged for food. He was running around, he was not getting anything. Finally, he got something. And at that moment, a crow came and snatched his food. He was so tired. He was had all his clothes torn and in a very dire situation. And at that time, when the crow snatched his food, he got up. And at that moment, he got up with a noise. So first of all, Queen asked what happened. Then he said, "वो सच है कि या ये सच?" Then she said, "No, it was only a dream. Why are you bothered about it?" But the king was not convinced. He went on asking this question. Everyone, then the morning came. His Rajya Sabha met. Before that, the Prime Minister, his minister came. He said he wanted to convince the king, but king went on asking the question, "वो सच है कि ये सच?" Then his guru was passing that way, Ashtavakra. He came and told the king, "Janak, वो भी सच नहीं है, ये भी सच नहीं है." So that is what Shankaracharya says in his Manisha Panchakam, Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Sputataram, the three states of human or every being's existence. That is wakefulness, dream and deep sleep. And the fourth one, the Turiya. And it is said that it's a journey into that. And this continuous challenge or this question about consciousness and mind, that is even today, especially the modern science is trying to find an answer. It is trying to go deeper and deeper into the physical body and find out where is the existence of mind and where it comes from. Whereas Eastern philosophies and especially Bharatiya thinks that it is the consciousness, the Brahman, the universal witness, that gives rise to that unity, that gives rise to the whole existence, which Shankaracharya said, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. So today, Adaraniya Suresh Soniji also mentioned about this fundamental philosophy on which we look at the Srishti and the Samashti. And it is this question that the Western science and the Eastern science is always having a dialogue on, and this is our strength in a way. Whereas, as mentioned about the development that is driven by the modern sciences, which in the past 200 years have evolved a lot of science, technology, great advances, but it has also thrown so many challenges that we are finding challenges of climate change, and what as mentioned by Soni ji, इतना बड़ा तो किया है but मनुष्य बहुत छोटा बन गया है. So that is the question probably we will be addressing today, and with these words I request Dr. Jitendra Singh to deliver his address. Namaste.
मंच पर आसीन हमारे बहुत ही माननीय प्रोफेसर विश्वनाथ कारनाड जी, डॉक्टर रेड्डी, डॉक्टर विजय भटकर, स्वामी जी, डॉक्टर मांडे, मेरे सामने बैठे हुए विज्ञान भारती और विज्ञान जगत से जुड़ी हुई बहुत ही विख्यात और कर्मठ विभूतियां, हमारे संगठन मंत्री जी शिव जी, हमारे रनाडे, प्रवीण जी, सुनील जी, और मेंबर्स ऑफ द साइंटिफिक फ्रेटर्निटी, द ऑफिस बेयरर्स ऑफ विज्ञान भारती. सबसे पहले तो मुझे आयोजकों को बधाई देनी है कि इतना बढ़िया आयोजन आपने आज ये पुणे शहर में किया है. एंड दिस हैपन्स टू बी द 6th राष्ट्रीय अधिवेशन. दूसरा, आपकी अनुमति से मुझे अपने आप को भी बधाई देनी है कि आई हैव हैड द अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑफ अटेंडिंग ईच ऑफ द अधिवेशंस एवर सिंस इट बिगैन. सो दैट इज अ वेरी प्रोविडेंशियल कोइंसिडेंस और हमारा सौभाग्य कि हम इससे जुड़े रहे. इसलिए नहीं कि ये मात्र एक कार्यक्रम है, बल्कि ये एक मुहिम है, एक मूवमेंट है. एंड आई थिंक इन अ सिंगल सेंटेंस यू कैन डिस्क्राइब इट एज ए सेमिनल मूवमेंट फॉर स्वदेशी साइंसेस विद स्वदेशी स्पिरिट. और जैसा अभी आप सुन रहे थे, I think trying to meet the optimum combination of scientific temper with Indian temper. और विज्ञान भारती का ये विभाग का जो यात्रा, माननीय सुरेश सोनी जी को मैंने देखा नहीं था प्रणाम, जो 1980s में प्रारंभ हुई, उससे न केवल किसी विचारधारा विशेष, बल्कि जो सही माने में विज्ञान के प्रति प्रतिबद्ध है, क्योंकि मेरा भी लगभग सारा जीवन इसी क्षेत्र में शोध और कार्य में गुजरा है. इस यात्रा के साथ, इस मुहिम के साथ सब जुड़ गए. और कभी कभी बहुत दुख भी होता है, विडंबना भी लगती है जब ये कहा जाता है कि ना साहब, ये किसी विचार विशेष की मुहिम है. और being students of science, we have been taught not to speak without evidence. और इसलिए when you look at the evidence, you would recall that one of the most prestigious awards won by Vibha was in the year 2007. The award was called Nehru Award, and the award was presented by the then Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. मुझे लगता है इसके बाद कुछ और कहने की आवश्यकता नहीं। जो बातें इस तरह से करते हैं, they are not per se committed to science. They are trying to do politics through science. So if we are totally committed to science, the progress of science, to the growth of science in the Indian context, we will find that we are all on the same page. और जहां तक विज्ञान जगत का संबंध है, जब हम ये कहते हैं कि हम इसको भारत के मूलभूत परंपरा के साथ जोड़ करके आगे बढ़ाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं, trying to combine the best of the tradition with the modern cutting edge technology, it is not simply out of a national pride, though it exists. इसमें भारतीयता का गर्व तो है ही है, लेकिन वो मात्र वहां तक सीमित नहीं है. There is a sound scientific reason to that, because you need to have Indian research, Indian solutions for Indian problems, Indian data for Indian questions, because our scientific spectrum is entirely different. अब जिस क्षेत्र से मेरा संबंध है, स्वास्थ्य के क्षेत्र में, I think no medical researcher across the world can deny when I say that Indian phenotype is different. हमारा DNA ही अलग है, इसलिए कुछ एक ऐसी बीमारियां जो हम में होती हैं उनमें नहीं होती, हम वहां चले जाते हैं तब भी होती हैं. उदाहरण के तौर पर जिस क्षेत्र से मेरा शोध रहा है पिछले 30-40 वर्ष से, मधुमेह से, we as a nation has a huge prevalence of central obesity, visceral obesity. हम देखने में दुबले पतले लगते हैं, लेकिन हमारा कमर का घेरा बहुत बड़ा होता है. लेकिन हमारी वेशभूषा ऐसी है, कभी कुर्ता पहन लेते, कभी करते, दिखता नहीं है. पश्चिम मूल के व्यक्ति देखने में मोटापा लगता है, लेकिन अंदर, एंड वी हैव प्रूव्ड दिस. इसी शहर में, पुणे शहर में, वे बैक, डॉक्टर विजय भटकर, यू विल बी हैप्पी टू नो, जब नया नया सीटी स्कैन आया था 1990s, डॉक्टर याग्निक के साथ हमने मिलकर के एक प्रोजेक्ट किया. वी स्कैंड अ ग्रुप ऑफ वेस्टर्नर्स वीजा वेस अ ग्रुप ऑफ ओरिएंटल ओरिजिन यहाँ के, एंड वी फाउंड that they were apparently obese, but they didn't have visceral fat. We were apparently lean, thin and smart, but we had plenty of fat. And this central obesity, this visceral fat is per se, independent of overall obesity, known to be a risk factor for all the metabolic diseases, whether it is diabetes mellitus, whether it is hypertension, whether it is heart disease. तो अब बताइए, क्या इसमें प्रमाण नहीं कि हमारा डेटा अलग होना चाहिए? Only then we can optimally address our problems. We cannot lift their findings, their inferences and apply it on our population. और जब हम बात करते हैं कि हमारी पारंपरिक विज्ञान की, और आज चूंकि इंटेग्रेटेड अप्रोच का युग आ गया है, होलिस्टिक अप्रोच, whether it is the treatment of human beings or it is the solution of other problems, तो वो जो ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज है वो भी हमारी ही विरासत है, विच इज आवर एक्सक्लूसिव एसेट. और वो लोग who looked at oriental medicine or oriental science with a certain amount of contempt, prejudice or skepticism, they were found changing their stand during COVID. और कोविड के समय देर रात को फोन कॉल आया करते थे अमेरिका से और पूछते थे कि साहब कोई आयुर्वेद में कोई दवाई है जिससे इम्यूनिटी बढ़ जाएगी. वो लोग जो आयुर्वेद के नाम से घृणा करते थे, नेचुरोपैथी, कि जब मौत का खतरा सामने हो तो सच निकल आता है, तो उनको लगता था कि शायद वहां से हमारे पास नहीं. सो वी हैव दोज ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज एसेट्स, एंड आई एम ग्लैड टू से दिस कि मैंने अपने विभाग में थोड़ा सा प्रयास करके हम सब ने मिल करके ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज लाइब्रेरी डेवलप की और हमने उसको आधुनिकता के साथ जोड़ने के लिए अब उसको डिजिटलाइज कर दिया। वी हैव नेम्ड इट TKDL, क्योंकि आजकल एब्रीविएशन ज़्यादा समझ आती है, OTT, PPP, तो हमने भी कर दिया TKDL, ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी। तो जो ट्रेडिशन की बात से घबराते हैं उनके लिए हमने TKDL पैदा कर दिया। एंड वी होप टू अचीव द बेस्ट ऑफ द बोथ। एंड लकीली दिस इज द गवर्नमेंट अंडर प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी कि 2014 के बाद से हमें भरपूर सहयोग प्रोत्साहन मिला है इस प्रयास में। तो कोई भी ऐसा सकारात्मक सुझाव रखा गया है तो हमें उसमें कभी रुकावट नहीं आई। इसके अतिरिक्त अगर हम ये बात करें कि पिछले 8-10 वर्षों में जिस प्रकार से तेज गति से वृद्धि हुई है या प्रगति हुई है विज्ञान के क्षेत्र में, तो आज ये मैं नहीं कह रहा, ये विज्ञान भारती नहीं कह रही, ये दुनिया के वो देश जो तथाकथित विकसित देश थे वो ये स्वीकार कर रहे हैं कि भारत हमारे साथ प्रथम श्रेणी में आकर के खड़ा हो गया। और जैसे मैंने कहा, एज स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ साइंस वी आर टॉट टू स्पीक नॉट विदाउट एविडेंस। व्हेन वी स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग विदाउट एविडेंस तो हमारी जो पारंपरिक बातें होती हैं वो भी कहीं धुंधली पड़ जाती है। सो आई एम ट्राइंग टू कंबाइन द ट्रेडिशन विद एविडेंस एंड प्रेजेंट ट्रेडिशन विद एविडेंस। हम 2014 में मात्र 350 स्टार्टअप थे इस देश में, मात्र 350। आज बढ़ करके 1.5 लाख से ज्यादा हो गए और दुनिया ने ये माना है कि इंडिया स्टैंड्स नंबर 3 इन स्टार्टअप ग्लोबल सिस्टम। ये मैं नहीं कह रहा, विज्ञान भारती। और ये इसलिए संभव हुआ कि हमने वो एसेट्स इस्तेमाल किए, वो नॉलेज रिसोर्सेज, वो अदर रिसोर्सेज जो अभी तक ना तलाशे गए, विच वर नॉट एक्सप्लोर्ड और अंडर एक्सप्लोर्ड, और उसमें हमारे ट्रेडिशनल हेरिटेज नॉलेज भी था। ग्लोबल इनोवेशन इंडेक्स is a universally acknowledged index, which is a parameter of where we stand. We were 81, rank 81 in 2014. Today, we stand at 40. We have jumped 41 places, and the world is saying so. क्योंकि अब वो समय आ गया है कि जो भी हम कार्य कर रहे हैं, जो भी हम प्रयास कर रहे हैं, जो भी हम शोध करते हैं, जो भी हम रिसर्च करते हैं, हम विज्ञान भारती के माध्यम से करें, हम सरकारी तंत्र के माध्यम से करें। वी हैव टू लिव अप टू ग्लोबल पैरामीटर्स। अगर हमने वैश्विक परिप्रेक्ष्य में अपना स्थान बताना है तो वी हैव टू मीट द ग्लोबल पैरामीटर्स एंड वी हैव टू बीट देम इन देयर स्ट्रेटजीज। एंड ग्लोबल पैरामीटर्स हैव रेज्ड अस 41 प्लेसेस हाई। आज in the number of PhDs in science, we stand number 3 in the world. उस दिन कैम्ब्रिज यूनिवर्सिटी के कुलपति आए थे दिल्ली, मुझे कहने लगे कि डॉक, if I don't have students from India, my PhDs will close. यानी हमारे छात्रों की, हमारे शोधकर्ताओं की, हमारे स्कॉलर्स की, हमारे विद्यार्थियों की उस प्रकार की मान्यता उन विश्वविद्यालयों में है जो कभी हमें कमतर की नजर से देखते थे। पेटेंट फाइलिंग में वी स्टैंड एट रैंक नंबर 9। जो हमारे अपकमिंग एरियाज है, हुआ क्या है कि काफी समय हमारा गुजर गया उन बातों पे खरा उतरने का जो बातें पश्चिम हमें सिखाता था। सो वी वर ट्राइंग टू लिव अप टू देयर स्टैंडर्ड्स, नॉट एस्टेब्लिशिंग आवर स्टैंडर्ड्स। आज हम दोनों करने में सफल हुए। We have met their standards and we have laid down our own standards. And I'll explain to you how. Again, not speaking only in the language of nationalism, but also nationalism combined with science. हमारे ऐसे resources हैं, वो भी traditional हैं, which had remained unexplored. For example, our bioresources, our biodiversity, our Himalayan resources. कम से कम 8-9 राज्य हमारे ऐसे हैं बसते हिमालय की गोद में। पिछले 60-70 वर्ष किसी ने उस तरफ नहीं देखा। आज वहीं से CSIR, जहां डॉक्टर मांडे की देखरेख में अरोमा मिशन प्रारंभ हुआ, एक नया आयाम भारत ने दुनिया को दिया है। लेवेंडर कल्टीवेशन, लेवेंडर स्टार्टअप्स, जिसकी झांकी कर्तव्य पथ पर 26 जनवरी को दिखाई गई। और कल प्रधानमंत्री श्रीनगर गए तो वही स्टॉल थे जो सबसे ज्यादा प्रमुखता से सामने आए। सो आई हैव टू कॉम्प्लीमेंट डॉक्टर पांडे एंड हिज टीम। हुआ क्या कि स्टार्टअप का कॉन्सेप्ट पश्चिम से आया, लैंड कर गया बेंगलोर में, तो हमने सोचा IT स्टार्टअप है, तो हम भूल गए। और वो भी अगर भारतीय सोच हो तो हमें समझ आएगा कि स्टार्टअप होने के लिए जरूरी नहीं है कि आप PhD हों, ये भी जरूरी नहीं है कि आप विज्ञान के बहुत बड़े स्कॉलर हों, और ये भी जरूरी नहीं कि आप वैज्ञानिक हों। यू विल बी अमेज्ड व्हेन आई टेल यू, जो इनके ब्रांड एम्बेसडर्स हैं इन अरोमा मिशन, ऐसे ऐसे नवयुवक हैं जो मुझे लगता है कि 12वीं कक्षा से ज्यादा पढ़े ही नहीं है, लेकिन उनमें वो स्किल है, वो एप्टीट्यूड है, एंड दे हैव बीन ट्रेन्ड एंड दे हैव अडॉप्टेड दैट। तो ये जो एग्री स्टार्टअप है, ये एग्री स्टार्टअप हमारा सरमाया है, ये दिस इज आवर ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज। सो व्हेन वी कंबाइन ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज विद द मॉडर्न कटिंग एज टेक्नोलॉजी, द आउटकम इज एग्री स्टार्टअप। इट इज नॉट द फार्मर ऑफ द ईयर, ये पिछले जमाने का किसान नहीं है, ये एग्रीकल्चरल एंटरप्रेन्योर है, ये लाखों रुपया कमा रहा है। अभी हाल ही में 2 नवयुवक बंगलौर से अपनी कॉर्पोरेट की नौकरी छोड़ करके इसमें लग गए, लेवेंडर कल्टीवेशन में। एक उनमें से इंजीनियरिंग ग्रेजुएट था और एक MBA। यानी बाय कंबाइनिंग आवर ट्रेडिशन विद मॉडर्निटी, यू आर आल्सो फाइंडिंग प्रॉफिटेबल मीन्स ऑफ लाइवलीहुड। और ये हमारा डोमेन है, ये वेस्ट का नहीं है, और इसमें भारतीयता है। और हमारा दूसरा एक आयाम जो बहुत जल्दी अभी सामने उभर करके आएगा, जिसके साथ पिछले साल रणा जी ने एक आंदोलन भी किया स्वच्छ सागर का। हमारे पास 750 किलोमीटर समुद्री तट है, हमने कभी उसकी तरफ नहीं देखा। जब हम कहते हैं कि कंबाइनिंग ट्रेडिशन, ये हमारी ट्रेडिशन है। सो हम ट्रेडिशन केवल प्रवचन से नहीं कर रहे, एविडेंस बेस्ड कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ ट्रेडिशन। 7500 किलोमीटर लॉन्ग, द लॉन्गेस्ट कोस्टल एरिया इन द वर्ल्ड। उस दिन कुछ ऑस्ट्रेलिया से मित्र आए तो मैंने उनसे कहा, you have a country which is called Australia, you have an island which is called Australia, you have a continent which is called Australia, but I have a country where the ocean is called after my country, Indian Ocean। तो वो सोचे कि ये मजाक से बात की, तो मैंने कहा नहीं, there is a serious thought। और वहाँ आता है विज्ञान भारती का फलसफा। मैंने कहा हमारे पूर्वजों ने जब इसका नाम हिंद महासागर रखा होगा तो ये सोचा होगा कि अगली पीढ़ी में 10 पीढ़ियों के बाद किसी न किसी के दिमाग में सोच आएगी कि इसका नाम क्यों रखा है, इसके अंदर भी कोई संपत्ति छिपी हो सकती है। क्योंकि पुराने ज़माने में जब हमारे पूर्वज ना बैंक होते थे ना खजाने, तो क्या करते थे, कहीं ज़मीन के नीचे कोई थैली रख देते थे अशरफियों की, साथ में पेड़ लगा देते थे, इसकी छाँव में कहीं हमारे 4 पीढ़ियों के बाद नाते नाती बैठेंगे तो कुछ लगाएंगे, अनुमान के कुछ नीचे छिपा। तो मैंने कहा इसलिए सो दैट वी पिक अप अ क्यू। और आज जो डीप सी मिशन प्रारंभ किया गया है पिछले 3-4 वर्षों में ही, दैट इज गोइंग टू एक्सप्लोर द ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ वेल्थ इन द फॉर्म ऑफ मिनरल्स, इन द फॉर्म ऑफ मेटल्स, biodiversities, living, non-living, and we may become one of the biggest exporters of fishery-related products. जब हम ये बात करते हैं कि हमने अपनी भारतीयता को आधुनिकता से जोड़े विज्ञान के माध्यम से, तो these are the evidence-based programs that we have initiated, which are actually now being looked up by the world. और जब हम ये कहते हैं कि हम 5वीं इकोनॉमी पे पहुंच गए 10वीं से, और हम 4थी पे चले जाएंगे और हम 3री पे चले जाएंगे, तो बहुत सारे लोग सुनने वाले कहते हैं कि साहब ठीक है, ये तो कहने में अच्छा लगता है इसलिए कहते हैं। हम में से कुछ इसलिए कहते हैं कि राजनीति से जुड़े हैं, कुछ इसलिए कहते हैं कि हमको गर्व महसूस होता है। लेकिन नो, अगेन, इफ यू थिंक लाइक अ साइंटिस्ट, यू विल आस्क योरसेल्फ, हाउ आर वी गोइंग टू अचीव नंबर 3? वेयर इज द वैल्यू एडिशन गोइंग टू कम फ्रॉम इकोनॉमी? और ये वैल्यू एडिशन यहीं से आएगी। हमारे ओशन रिसोर्सेज, हमारे मैरीन रिसोर्सेज, हमारे हिमालयन रिसोर्सेज जो सदियों से हमारे साथ थे लेकिन हमने उनकी तरफ नहीं देखा, और इसलिए इसकी तरफ अगर आज प्राथमिकता दी जा रही है तो विज्ञान भारती के द्वारा इस तरह की जो मूवमेंट्स प्रारंभ की गई हैं उनको भी श्रेय जाता है, क्योंकि उन्होंने सरकार की निगाह उस तरफ उत्साहित करने का काम किया है। और before I end, I think we don't have to talk about the various other missions that we have launched, लेकिन इसमें एक महत्वपूर्ण बात ये जरूर है कि जहां पहले हम विज्ञान के क्षेत्र में भी 10-15 वर्ष पीछे रहा करते थे, आज हम कई कई आयाम में उनसे आगे हो गए या उनके बराबर है। और जब मैंने ये कहा कि हर बात को तथ्य के साथ रखा जाए, तर्क के साथ रखा जाए, तो कोई ये कहने का साहस नहीं करेगा कि ये विज्ञान भारती तो एक विचारधारा विशेष की मूवमेंट है। जैसे मैंने कहा कि 2007 का हमारा जो इनाम है वो हमने अपने आप को नहीं दिया, किसी और ने हमको आगे दिया। और जब वो बात करते हैं, एक छोटा सा उदाहरण मैं कल भी दे रहा था, टेलीविजन अमेरिका में 1950 के दशक में आया। The famous presidential election of 1960, where President Kennedy, the would-be President Kennedy, turned tables on Richard Nixon, became possible because of a television debate. कि वहाँ कैंडिडेट की टीवी डिबेट होती है। हमारे यहाँ तो तब पता ही नहीं था किसी को टीवी क्या होता। हमारे तो 1970 में आया वो किसान जगत और कुछ चित्रहार वार। लेकिन आज देखिए, आज क्वांटम मिशन जो हमारे यहाँ लॉन्च हुआ है, वी आर अमंग 5 or 6 एलीट नेशंस ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। हमारी चंद्रमा की जो मिशन है, एक बड़ी रोचक बात है जो ना कभी ध्यान में आती है ना हम कहते हैं, कि हमारे इसरो की स्थापना सन 1969 में हुई थी, 1969। विक्रम साराभाई थे, सतीश धवन थे। लेकिन अगर आप पिछली अखबारें देखेंगे तो 1969 का हॉलमार्क था द लैंडिंग ऑफ फर्स्ट ह्यूमन बीइंग ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ मून। His name was Neil Armstrong and he was an American। और हमारा भी जन्म हुआ था। आज हम साउथ पोल पर पहले पहुंच गए, वो नहीं पहुंच पाए। तो इसका अर्थ ये हुआ कि there was no dearth of talent। हमारे पास प्रतिभा भी थी, हमारे पास प्रतिबद्धता भी थी, काम करने का मादा भी था, आंखों में सपने भी थे, दिल में अरमान भी थे। आपने देखी होंगी पुरानी तस्वीरें, सारा भाई अपने बाईसाइकिल के कैरेज पर सामान लेकर के जाते थे। लेकिन हमारे पास अभाव था साधनों का और अभाव था अनुकूलता का। अनुकूलता जो कि नीति निर्धारकों की स्तर से आती है, अनुकूलता जो कि राजनीतिक नेतृत्व से आती है, और वो अनुकूलता हमें अब प्राप्त हुई। और फिर ये बात ना आए कि ये बात इसलिए कही जा रही है कि हमारा ताल्लुक उस सरकार से है जो आज है। इसका भी एक साइंटिफिक एविडेंस आपको मैं देता हूं। आज से मात्र 2 वर्ष पहले नई स्पेस पॉलिसी इंट्रोड्यूस की गई, जिसके तहत द स्पेस सेक्टर वाज ओपनड अप टू द प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स। 2 साल में, और दुनिया इस बात को मान रही है, वी वर ओनली वन स्टार्टअप, एक इन 2022। आज हम बढ़ करके 199 हो गए, लगभग 200। और पिछले वर्ष 2023 में मात्र 8 महीने में, अप्रैल से लेकर के दिसंबर तक 1000 करोड़ रुपए का प्राइवेट सेक्टर का निवेश हुआ है स्पेस सेक्टर में। क्योंकि वी हैव लर्न टू गिव अप द टैबूज ऑफ द पास्ट। 60-70 वर्ष तक हमने अपनी बनाई हुई बंदिशों में अपने आप को बांध के रखा, और गायबाना सुबह सैर करते करते हम निकल जाते थे, कहते साहब क्या किया इसरो ने, क्या किया वैज्ञानिकों ने, वो देखो नासा कहाँ पहुँच गया, हम कहीं नहीं पहुँचे। लेकिन ये नहीं सोचते थे कि नासा 70 to 80% इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन नॉन गवर्नमेंट सोर्सेज, और हम सब कोई सरकार से अपेक्षा करते थे। जब ये बात हमने इस सरकार के आगे रखी, उन्होंने हमें अनुमति दी। आज हमारा स्पेस सेक्टर रातों रात इतना आगे बढ़ गया है कि अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति ने ये आगे सुझाव रखा है कि अगली बार जब इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन पे जाया जाए तो हमारे वैज्ञानिक उनके साथ जाए, विच मीन्स नाउ वी हैव ओपनड अप, बिकॉज वी हैव, वो जो हमारे साइलोज में बैठ करके काम कर रहे थे और हमें ये समझ आया कि आज से आगे अगर हमारी ग्रोथ होगी तो इट हैज़ टू बी एन इंटेग्रेटेड ग्रोथ, whether it is the field of medicine which COVID taught us, whether it is the field of space, whether it is the field of biopharmy, आजकल ग्लोबल बायोफार्मा मिशन बना है। और इसलिए आने वाले समय में हमारे आगे का जो प्रगति रहेगी उसका मूल आधार 2-3 बिंदुओं पर। एक, हाउ बेस्ट वी इंटेग्रेट इन आवर ऑनवर्ड जर्नी, गेटिंग द बेस्ट ऑफ बोथ द प्राइवेट एंड पब्लिक। होता क्या था कि आज तक प्राइवेट सेक्टर वाले सोचते थे कि जो सरकार में बैठे हैं तो सारे घूसखोरी के लिए बैठे हैं, रिश्वत लेने को, तो वो उन पर शक करते थे। और जो सरकार वाले थे प्राइवेट, वो कहते ये तो सारे चोर है, ब्लैक मार्केट है। तो मैंने उस दिन जब स्पेस की बात की, मैंने कहा भाई देखो, समाज एक है, देश एक है, चोर ने भी उसी में चलना है, साथ में घूसाखोर ने भी चलना है। जैसे आप एक रेलगाड़ी में बैठ जाते हैं, बस में बैठते हैं, फिर हनुमान चालीसा करते हैं कि रास्ते में एक्सीडेंट ना हो। जब आप हनुमान चालीसा करके ये प्रार्थना करते हैं कि बस ठीक ठाक पहुंच जाए, तो आप ये नहीं कहते कि जो चोर है उसको, उसके लिए नहीं करना, तो आप कहते बस पहुंचे, और उस बस में आपको जाने अनजाने में चोर का भी भला, घुसाखोर का भी भला। तो मैंने कहा ये एक हमारा सामूहिक जर्नी है, वी हैव टू लर्न। अगर हम में कोई ऐसा है तो उसकी त्रुटियां दूर करें, वो भी तभी होंगी अगर हम सामूहिक रूप से काम करेंगे। और जब हम ये इंटेग्रेटेड अप्रोच हमने स्पेस में शुरू की और दूसरे क्षेत्रों में, तो इट इज़ नॉट ओनली इंटेग्रेशन और सप्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल रिसोर्सेज, इट इज ऑल्सो सप्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ नॉलेज रिसोर्सेज, ऑफ कैरेक्टर रिसोर्सेज, ऑफ कल्चर रिसोर्सेज। एक दूसरे से अपने आप को सुधारने का भी काम हुआ। दूसरा हमारा रहेगा अहम बिंदु, हम कहाँ किस हद तक अपने ये जो अनएक्सप्लोर्ड रिसोर्सेज थे, जिसका मैंने उदाहरण के तौर पर कहा, हमारे सागर के साधन रिसोर्सेज, हमारे एरोमा के रिसोर्सेज, हम इनको किस तरह से आगे ले जाते हैं, बिकॉज दीज आर एक्सक्लूसिव टू इंडिया। एंड तीसरा, जहाँ विज्ञान भारती का भी एक बहुत अहम भूमिका रहेगी, कि हमारा जो ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज है वो अभी भी वैसा ही है। और आज भी मैं उस दिन कह रहा था भुवनेश्वर में कि सन 2001 में जब वहाँ बहुत बड़ा साइक्लोन आया, तो हमारी एक कॉन्फ्रेंस चल रही थी वहाँ पे। रातों रात जब सुबह उठे तो भुवनेश्वर शहर का हर खंबा उल्टा था, हर बिल्डिंग में क्रैक था, जो लोग सीधे खड़े थे उल्टे खड़े थे। इस तरह का साइक्लोन आया था। और एक ही स्मारक जो अपनी जगह से नहीं हिला, वो कोणार्क का टेम्पल था। तो मैंने कहा, इज दिस नॉट अ केस स्टडी, कि क्या आर्किटेक्चर है इसमें। और जब हम वो बात करते हैं, वी गिव एविडेंस टू आवर ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज। तो इन 3 बिंदुओं पर हम चलेंगे तो वील हैव एन एज। बाकी जो मॉडर्न दुनिया या पश्चिमी दुनिया के जो प्राथमिकताएं हैं या प्रायोरिटी एरियाज है, उसमें भी हमने पीछे नहीं हटे हैं। हमारी हाइड्रोजन मिशन भी है, हमारी डिजिटल मिशन भी है, हमारी डीप सी मिशन भी है। क्योंकि जहां हमने अपने रिसोर्सेज के बलबूते पर एक सुपीरियर पोजीशन हासिल करनी है, वहां वी हैव आल्सो टू लर्न टू बीट इन देम इन देयर गेम। अब अगेन एविडेंस बेस्ड बात करते हैं। आप गुल्ली डंडा खेलते हैं, बहुत बढ़िया खेलते हैं, कोई अंग्रेज आपसे खेलने आए, आप उसको हरा देंगे। लेकिन अंग्रेज ने आपकी बलबूते को तब मानना शुरू किया जब आपने उसको क्रिकेट में हराना शुरू किया। तो आप गुल्ली डंडा भी खेलिए और उसको नीचा भी दिखाइए और उसको ये समझाइए कि ये मेरा ट्रेडिशनल है, ये मेरी ट्रेडिशन है, तुम ये नहीं आ सकते। लेकिन साथ ही साथ जो तुम कर रहे हो वो उसमें भी मैं कम नहीं हूँ। ये 3-4 स्तर पर हम काम करेंगे और मुझे विश्वास है कि विज्ञान भारती की भूमिका पहले से बहुत अधिक रहने वाली है। बिकॉज फॉर्चुनेटली वी हैव अ डिस्पेंसेशन इन प्लेस विच इज सपोर्टिव ऑफ दिस। और इसी प्रार्थना के साथ कि परमात्मा हम सबको, हम जो भी जुड़े हैं विज्ञान के जगत से, शोध जगत से, हमें इतना सामर्थ्य दे, इतनी क्षमता दे, इतनी सद्बुद्धि दे कि हम इस दायित्व को निभा सकें। एक बार पुनः बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
हम सबका आभार है, बहुत बहुत आभार है। इतने समय की व्यस्तता के भीतर भी डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह जी आए और विज्ञान भारती की जो भूमिका रही है आने वाले दिनों में भी इसके ऊपर भी हमारा मार्गदर्शन किया। वी आर एक्सट्रीमली थैंकफुल टू यू and we all know that he has a very busy schedule. He is just now going back to Delhi after he came for this talk, and he has informed that he will be leaving this function after this talk. So we are thankful to you once again, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji. Namaskar. Moving on with our session, may I request Pujya Swamiji Srikantanand ji to deliver his keynote address in this session on science and spirituality. Pujya Swamiji.
सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। डॉक्टर विजय भटकर, डॉक्टर विश्वनाथ जी कराड, just now Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, Minister, beautifully addressed this gathering, and we have Satish Reddy ji, Shekhar Mande, other dignitaries, on enlightened audience sitting before me. We heard a very beautiful talk, how India is developing in the field of science. And also we have heard the contribution of Vijnana Bharati in this field. They are carrying this message of science to the different schools and colleges by their mobile vans. This was Swami Vivekananda's dream. Somebody asked him, Swamiji, why don't you preach religion in India? Swamiji said, these are all poor people. Their God is bread and butter. First we have to give them bread, then we can talk about God. Empty stomach is not fit for religion. So when Swamiji saw the poverty in India, he went round, he did Bharat Parikrama, then he sat on Vivekananda Kendra, you know now, Vivekananda Rock Memorial. There Kanyakumari, he went and sat there, meditated. And he was thinking about only Indians. He was the only monk who could think of India in totality. His love for India was great. He said, in my country, not even dog should go empty stomach. That was his love for country. But what is the solution? Because he was, after all, he was a monk. Then, during meditation, he found a solution for that problem. He said the solution is, I must go to West, because Western countries are well developed. I must go there. And India has something great to contribute to the world. I will give them Indian spirituality. I will not go like a beggar. I will go to other countries to give them spirituality and get science and technology for them so we can develop our country materially. His dream was, we want Western science and technology coupled with Vedanta. How to combine these two things, Western science with Indian spirituality. In America, in Europe, Swamiji did not speak about science or material progress or employment or all those things because they were leading a very luxurious life. All comforts were available for them because they developed science and technology and India was lagging behind in that. When he was going to America, Chicago, from Japan to America, in that ship, Tata were there, Jamshedji Tata. Then Swamiji said, you are going to other countries to import things. Why don't you start some factories in India? Why do you start science center in India, Science Research Institute? And we know that Jamshedji started in Bangalore, Science and Technology Institute. Today also it is available. He requested Swamiji to become a member, but Swamiji said, being a monk, I cannot accept any position. So Swamiji was always thinking, even in America also, he met Tesla and many scientists. He was always thinking that how to get that knowledge. Because that time there was a lot of superstition. We should not cross the ocean. They are all mlechas. It's the day we started thinking that they are mlechas and we should not go out. That was the beginning of India's degradation. Other countries were so developed. We were backward because we refused to go outside of the India. They were fighting with guns and we were fighting with swords. So unless we develop science and technology, we cannot develop India. And Swamiji knew very well. Though he was a spiritual giant, but he knew that India need both because so much poverty was there in India. Even Moksha Gundam Vishwashanti said, poverty is a disease and it can be cured. There is medicine for that. And he was a Bharat Ratna, he was an engineer. And how he did wonderful work in Hyderabad, Hussain Sagar, Usman Sagar, Himayat Sagar. So all Kaveri Dam is all his contribution. So being a scientist, he did a lot of work for the progress of India. At the same time, we see his wonderful character, great values. So when we combine these two, then we can make India great. It will be nice that Vijnan Bharati is taking science door to door. Like that Vijnan Bharati, they should start another wing, Adhyatma Bharati. And they should go to village and carry the message of Indian culture, religion and spirituality. Because we know science, our boys, they know science. But they are losing faith in our culture. They are losing faith in spirituality and religion. That means science is making them only selfish. So, certain extent it is necessary because we have to develop science. Population is growing. In every field we have to bring science and technology. In agriculture field, medical field, during those days, Vedas, the science was very advanced. We had Ayurveda. Ayurveda was so advanced that everything was available there, even surgery also. So they researched and found out different faculties to improve the life of human beings. In mathematics, in geometry, We know how they were great. Even that time also we had aeroplane, that we know that Pushpak. So many things were there. But because of almost 1,000 of slavery, the other nations wanted to spread their culture and destroy this culture. But of course, they could not. They tried their best. They closed all the schools. They used to teach Sanskrit. In every village there was a Sanskrit Pathshala. So they wanted to destroy everything what is our own and to introduce their own culture. But then they could not succeed because we had a very strong foundation. The great people like Swami Vivekananda and others, they came and they protected Indian culture and religion. When Swamiji went to America, they all were surprised. He also preached Vedanta, but scientific temperament with logic and reasoning. If we give logic and reasoning, and if we can convince them, they are bound to accept our ideas. And that was the Swamiji's great contribution. He became a very successful spiritual teacher in the world. First time he went and he preached spirituality, Vedanta, and they were spellbound. They said, India has such a great people, such enlightened people. It is a foolishness to send our people to preach a religion there. So even that time also, we could hold on to the science and spirituality, particularly spirituality. And now we need more because we find day by day the values are degrading. Science we must have. We cannot reject science. Otherwise we will not be able to develop. We have to compete with the world. So when we are in the world market, we have to compete. So therefore in every aspect, we should improve. Even physical sciences also. And today we find that we are advancing in that field very much. But then we should remember that alone is not enough. Man cannot live only on bread. So this is a science of matter. But there is another science of spirit, what we call spirituality. That is, the modern science is discovering truths in external nature. And that is possible through senses and machineries. And Western countries are expert in that. They started that. Their all search was in the outer world. How to make human being comforts and how to remove the poverty so that they can live in this world happily. Our sages did not pay much attention to that. They knew that all these things will be there, but they are all perishable. So instead of searching truth in outside world, they turned their mind within and they found out grand truths about human being. Now the modern science should expand their scope. They should not remain confined only with the physical science, the material sciences. They should go beyond that. And they are searching truth in nature, but human being also is a part of nature. So there what is hidden in human being, that is our sages have discovered, and that is science of spirituality. That is also one of the science. And we are today, in the name of science, we are very much charmed, very much attracted by the external things, that we are forgetting that what is hidden within us. Swami Vivekananda says, if we forget that, then what will happen to India? In one quotation, Swami Vivekananda said like that. Swamiji said, mark you, if you give up spirituality, leaving it aside to go after the materializing civilization of the West, the result will be that in 3 generations you will be an extinct race, because the backbone of the Indian nation will be the broken. the foundation upon which the national edifice has been built will be undermined, and the result will be annihilation all around. So Swamiji has warned us that is our backbone. Religion and spirituality is our backbone. In the whole world, what is the speciality of India? Because of India, there is spirituality in the world. If India dies, all great things will go away. अगर कभी ऐसा हो जाए भारत दुनिया से मिट जाए तब होगा चारों तरफ में नैतिकता का नाश कभी न होगा भारत का विनाश. So India is eternal. India is immortal. India cannot die because India has to provide the world spirituality, which is nowhere in the world. It is India's monopoly. Our Upanishad, our Vedanta is so logical. You can reason out, you can question, and you can find out the truth. So this is only about truth of the man. And that truth is so subtle that no machine can help us to discover truth in nature. There are many things. Microscope and all these things are there. But for discovering spiritual truth, there is only one thing, and that is our mind. And those truths are very subtle. Our mind is gross. So this gross mind cannot grasp that subtle truth. Our Upanishad says, Anoraniyan mahato mahiyan, atmasya janto nihito guhayam, tamakratu pashyati vita shoka, dhatu prasadat mahimana atmanaha. So this is smaller than the smallest. That is the truth, the Atman, the consciousness. And that is hidden within each one of us. That is vast, and at the same time it is very subtle. So it can be realized only by mind, but not the mind what we have. Akratu, desireless and pure mind. So this training of the mind is necessary. This truth is hidden within each one of us. It is everywhere, it is all pervaded. That consciousness is everywhere. But we are not aware of that. Though it is our essential nature, that real I is that self. But we are only on the plane of body. We are not able to go beyond body. When we try to go beyond body, we have to discipline ourselves. Then how to discover this truth? That is what we have a system. And by following systematically we can attain that highest truth of Vedanta. And that is called Veda. Veda, these all truths are there. And to practice that, we have yoga. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, if you run after too much enjoyment and pleasures, that means bhoga. If you run after bhoga, you will get a roga. You will get all sorts of diseases. And to cure that, you have to practice yoga. So yoga means we think only physical exercise. But it has a very vast meaning. Patanjali has written one book, Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So that is step by step he has given Ashtanga Yoga. Even Bhagavan Buddha also given Ashtanga Yoga. So what was lacking for Bhagavan Buddha? Everything was there. He was a prince. He was a Rajkumar. Every luxury and all comforts were there. But why he was not happy? When he went out of the palace, when he saw the old man, the dead body, the deceased people, then he said, this is the truth about life. You see, science can remove our fear, but science cannot remove fear of death. Science cannot conquer death. As long as human body is there, as long as there is birth and death, the spirituality always will be there. In Kathopanishad, a boy Nachiketa went to Yama, his guru, and asked, Sir, I want to know what happens to man after death. Some says there is nothing, some think there is something. You please answer my question. He wanted to know truth about human being. Yama tempted him. Yama said, you want anything, whatever you want, I am ready to give. You want land, prosperity, what you want, long life, healthy life, everything you ask, but don't ask this question. But his boy said, no, I don't want anything. I want to know only about this truth, what happens to man after death. And that is secret of death. That if we want to overcome sufferings, science can remove some of our sufferings, but science cannot remove all our sufferings. Because as long as body is there, sufferings will be always there. And we are so much attached to the body, we say, I am this body, but we don't know what is beyond body. Shankaracharya says, mano buddhi hankara chittani naham, nacha srotra jivhe, nacha grana netre, nacha vyama bhumi na tejo na vayu, chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. So that is real knowledge. We should have scientific knowledge. At the same time, we should have spiritual knowledge also. Without spiritual knowledge, the knowledge is not complete. See the Einstein, what he says. He says, science can denature plutonium, but science cannot denature evil in the heart of man, declares Einstein. He said you can break atom, science can do that, but science cannot remove the evils from the human mind. Science is developing, but along with that, selfishness, telling lies, crimes, mental and psychological problems, and many more problems are also increasing because the man is not sincerely following values. Now, without values, we will be just like a machine. We will be working like a machine. Machine also can work. So science has reduced man to the machine. So we have only the external dimension, but we don't know about internal dimension. And unless we know that internal dimension, we cannot attain eternal peace and happiness. Because this science can give you comforts. It can give you a very good life. But we cannot be satisfied with that. Our Vedas, they are given four Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. These are the four Purusharthas given in Vedas. Unless we follow Dharma, we cannot attain Moksha. Moksha means liberation, freedom from all bondages, freedom from all sufferings. And Bhagavan Buddha went out, sat in meditation, and he attained that state of nirvana where he was so happy. He wanted to spread that truth, and he spread that truth throughout the world. Even China, Japan, Thailand, Sri Lanka, everywhere his bhikshus went. Lakhs and lakhs of sannyasis were seen preaching the truth of Dharma. Dharma means what Buddha says, Dhammam. So this truth were there. Though people were happy with material things, everything was available for them, but they wanted to know what is the real source of happiness, where that happiness will come from. And here scripture says, you don't have to search that happiness in the physical world, because what is not there, how can you get it? Because your nature is the Ananda Swarup, that infinite bliss is within you. So instead of searching within, you are searching outside. Just like a musk deer runs here and there. Nabhi mein rahte kasturi, mrugabhage sab or re, chhod de jhoote sukha ki asha, karan is antara khojare. Just like kasturi mruga runs here and there, getting smell, fragrance of kasturi. But that deer does not know that that kasturi is hidden within his navel. Like that happiness is hidden within each one of us. But we are running after happiness in the world. This happiness, what we get through senses, it's a very partial. There is no real happiness. It brings only sufferings. Tukaram Maharaj says, Sukha pahata java evade, dukha parvata evade. In this world, very little happiness but more sufferings. But to get little happiness, we invite all sorts of sufferings because we neglect our real dimension. We neglect our inner dimension. So therefore, it is our duty of each and every Indians or each and every citizens to improve both faculties. We should not be satisfied with material achievements. We have good car or good house, and if you remain satisfied, you are losing very important thing in your life. Because human life is very rare. Shankaracharya says in Vivek Chudamani, Durlabam treme vaited devanugraha hetukam manusyatvam mumukshutvam mahapurusha samsaraya. In this world, three things are very difficult to get, and only by the grace of God we can get, and that is human body. There are so many species. There are 80 lakhs yoni species, but human being is unique because human being alone can realize the higher truth. Animals cannot do that. They don't have that faculty of discrimination. They don't have viveka. So human being can think, he can decide what is temporary, what is permanent, and he should choose what is permanent. And in that way he started journey. So therefore first come dharma. Then based on dharma, if you earn money, there is nothing wrong. But today we find why there is so much of violence, why there is so much of cheating, murders, corruption, because we don't care for dharma. If you don't want to practice dharma, you cannot attain moksha. Our scripture says, Satyam vada dharmam chara ajara devo bhava, matru devo bhava, pitru devo bhava. Is all said by our Vedas. So dharmam chara, follow religion and speak truth. Truth is God. Swami Vivekananda says, wherever there is truth, purity and unselfishness, wherever these three things are there, there is no power in the world to crush the possessor thereof. जिस आदमी के पास सत्य, पवित्रता और निस्वार्थता है, उस आदमी को इस दुनिया की कोई भी शक्ति दबा नहीं सकती. These are the truth, these are the values. But today, how we are becoming more and more selfish, more and more greedy, and therefore we are inviting all sorts of troubles. So here we have yogas. Our real nature is divine. Swami Vivekananda said, each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest their divinity by controlling nature, external and internal. We have to control external nature also because our senses are running after sense enjoyments. And in this world, there are all sorts of temptations, attractions. So always they are running after that. So we have to control that. External nature and internal nature is our mind. Our mind also is restless. There is no peace in our mind because there are all sorts of desires. We want everything. So science can satisfy our needs, but not a greed. The mind has become so greedy, he wants for himself everything. He doesn't care for others. He doesn't want to help others. Everything I should get. Because of these enemies, they are all our enemies. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, Matsara. They are all in our mind. As long as these enemies are there in our mind, we cannot dream of spirituality. If you want to become a spiritual, you want to be a moral. Without morality and ethics, we cannot become spiritual. So here Patanjali has given Ashtanga Yoga, that is called the path of meditation. Then there is path of Karma Yoga. There is path of Bhakti Yoga. There is path of Jnana Yoga. So in Bhagavad Gita there are 18 paths, 18 yogas. There said 18 yogas, 18 different ways to attain that highest divinity. That our real nature is divine, but to realize that we have to practice sadhana. And as long as we are able to control our mind, as long as we go on running after the external things, we will not be turn our mind within. The God has made our senses outward, extravert. Paranchi khani vyatrunat swayambhu. Tasmat parang pashyati na antaratman. Kashid dhira pratyagatmanam aikshad. Avrutta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan. So here Upanishad says God has made our senses extravert and therefore always they go out. But there are some wise people. They turn their senses within. Avrutta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan. Those who want to attain immortality, they turn their mind within and realize the highest truth. Amrutatvam icchan. They realize the immortality. So here, all these disciplines, yama, niyama, then asana, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi, these are the wonderful steps. Ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, shaucha, santosha, tapa, they are all values. We don't want to practice anything. Directly we want to go for meditation and samadhi. That is not possible. For spiritual sadhaka, he has to discipline himself, and that is what Swamiji has taught us. So both you have to balance. When you live in the world, we have to live in the world only. Because Sri Ramakrishna said, boat should be in water, but water should not enter in the boat. If water enters in the boat, that boat will get drowned. So we are in samsara, we are in bhavasagara. But then we should not allow samsara to enter in our mind. That means live in this world. Do all your duties. But don't get attached to anything. There is a wonderful story. Once Yajnavalkya was taking class and many students were there. Most of them were brahmacharis, sannyasis, and there was Janaka also. Janaka was a king, he was a householder and king. So he used to come and attend. One day Janaka came late. So the other sannyasi disciples, they said, sir, you start your class. He said, no, let Janaka come and I will start. They said, what is Janaka? He is a householder, he is a king, he is enjoying life. What he will understand this Upanishad? He said, let him come. Then Janaka came. Yajnavalkya was a great sage. What he did, he created a fire and the palace was burning and nearby some huts were there built by these sannyasis. So the fire was burning. All the sannyasis ran away because their huts were nearby and their clothes and all these things were there. They started running away. Then Janaka asked, why you did not go? Janaka said, when I come to listen Vedanta, I forget the whole world. I don't bother about palace. That is nothing for me. I am not attached even to palace. And then all the sannyasis came back. Then Yajnavalkya said, you see, you ran away to protect your small hut. But here is a king. Palace was burning, but he did not bother about palace. That means though he is a king, he is a Videha. He has no body consciousness. He has gone beyond body. He is not attached to even palace and any worldly things. So that was our spirituality. That means live in this world, but don't get attached to anything. Sri Ramakrishna used to say attachment is the cause of all our sufferings. And always remember that one day we have to leave this world. We have got human body. It is because of God's grace. In this body, we have to struggle how to realize our inner nature and be free from all bondages. No more birth, no more death, no more suffering, no more all these problems. So you get infinite bliss, and that is eternal peace, not temporary. By getting worldly things, you get temporary peace. But again desires will come, again we run after, and like that it goes on, and our desires are never satisfied. We think by enjoying this object, we will be satisfied, but it cannot be. In Mahabharata, in Bhagavata, there is a slok, na jatu kama kaman upavoge na shamyate. Avisha Krishna martiva abhivartate. If you pour ghee in the fire, the fire will increase. You cannot put it off. Like that, by satisfying desires, you are increasing your desires. Desires can never be satisfied. One desire is fulfilled, another will come. So have a comfortable life. I don't mean that you should live in poverty. Have a comfortable life, but see that that is not end. There is journey beyond that, and that is our spiritual journey. So we have to think of both material and spiritual progress. That is the ideal for Indians, and we should not forget the bird cannot fly only with one wing. Like that, birds should have two wings, material and spiritual. Both should be equally developed. We are developing material sciences, but we are neglecting spiritual science. That should be included in our syllabus, in our schools and colleges. So along with material sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, all, they will learn spiritual dimension also. They will practice religion also. They will practice truthfulness, honesty, sincerity, dedication, devotion, service. All the great qualities are there, but that we are neglecting. Therefore, I just quote one or two Swamiji's quotations, what he says. Here, Swamiji says, the dead body resent nothing. Let us make our bodies dead and cease to identify ourselves with them. It is the horrible body idea that breeds all the selfishness in the world. Teach yourself, teach everyone his real nature. Call upon the sleeping soul and see how it awakes. Power will come, goodness will come, purity will come, and whatever is excellent will come to you when this sleeping soul is roused to self-conscious activity. So there was a yogi in Himalayas. I just remember one story. So there was a yogi in Himalayas, and he was without a single pie. He was very happy, very blissful. Then the Alexander came, the great Alexander emperor. He went to that yogi and he said, "You are so happy, you don't have anything, but you are very happy. So you come with me. You come with me, I will provide you all comforts. Everything will be given. You teach me the secret, how I can be happy like you." That yogi said, I am not going to come. I am quite happy in the jungle. Then Alexander removed his sword. He said, "If you don't come, I will cut into pieces." Then that yogi laughed and he said, "My dear king, you are telling greatest lie in your life. How can you kill me? No weapon can kill me, no fire can burn me. Do you think I am just this body?" That yogi became so fearless. He said, "If you want, you can kill this body, but you can never kill me." That was his realization that made him happy without anything of this world. So when you have this spiritual realization, you will be very satisfied, peaceful and happy person. So I think my time is over. So we will conclude here. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
As Puja Swamiji mentioned about the Kasturi deer running around to find out the source of the fragrance that is embedded in its own body, we are all running around to find the happiness which is embedded in our own selves. Thank you very much for this delivery of this lecture and outlining the contours of science and spirituality in front of this audience. Now may I request Dr. Satish Reddy, who as announced today morning is also a member of the newly constituted Governing Council, member of the advisory board of the Governing Council of Vigyan Bharati. Satish Reddy ji, namaste.
Namaskar. Sri Vijay Bhatkar ji, Shri Vishwanath Karatji, Swami Sri Kanthananda Swami Ji, Dr. Shekhar Mande, Suresh Soni Ji, Shiv Kumar Ji, and all other dignitaries, scientists who are present here. Namaskar to you once again. Firstly, our Honorable Minister has given a brief of how India is evolving as a science and technology nation in the world now. Gave the statistics and details of the growth of the country. Swamiji has given the perspective of spiritualism and science and how both should be growing together or work towards the mankind and humankind and all that. The same subject, being a scientist, I'll also give a little bit of my perspective and also get into the technology aspects a little bit. If you look at in the last few decades, on the same subject of science and spiritualism, there have been a lot of studies which have been going on, lots of papers which have gone through, many people have written books, and there have been number of conferences which have happened, a full conferences, international conferences, where Nobel laureates have come and participated. Science and spiritualism conferences have been having. That's primarily because they have been thought there are two paths, there are two distinct things, science, spiritualism, and particularly this country being a highly spiritual country, and which world has recognized India as a spiritual country, as a mystic country. Now when we look at the science, historically, science has been based on experimental based, data based, analytical based, logical based, empirical data based. This is how the science has been and moving further and evolving itself as that. Many times, not science, the scientists at various ages of the history, whatever is evolved, discovered on that day, with those parameters, look at the entire universe, whatever is fitting into that equation. Let's say we put it into mathematically a fourth order equation, fifth order equation, sixth order equation. If the entire universe is fitting into it, you call it scientific. If it is not fitting, then it was unscientific. That's why I'm using the word, the science, the humankind is evolving itself in the science to understand what it is. That is why somebody said, what is science and what is spiritualism? Science is what which deals with the physical things, and physical world is science. Beyond the physical world is spiritualism. Whatever is beyond this is spiritualism. This is how it is. Or otherwise somebody said, science is one which understands experimentally or logically what is a physical event, trying to analyze, understand how it is. Whereas spiritualism is something connected to spirit, something connected to Atma, something connected to Atma and universe relation, something connected to the universal power, and something connected to the truth is what spiritualism, what it is taught. What I am saying here is science and spiritual, when we look at it, take a couple of centuries back, 200 years, 300 years back, the science would not have believed that you can communicate with a person who is very far off. There was no way that you can think. Till radio communication on a wire or a cable has come into existence, we are not thought. Then when the electromagnetic waves came in, where you don't require a physical means, it can travel through atmosphere, then it is realized that you can communicate with anyone, anywhere, whatever it is. Similarly, visual, till the visual senses have come, which can see from far off, or even where you have gone into the higher frequencies, when you are able to see through the night also, night vision things also have come into the picture, and then thought, yes, this is feasible, this is what it happens and all that. That's why I am saying again, science is evolving. So it is actually said the other way around, whether the science and spiritualism are two distinct things, are linked things, are both the side of a coin, or they are actually interleaved things, which actually science is trying to understand and get into more and make people more and more spiritual. If other way around, somebody gives an explanation, a GV is born till death, he is connected with the science, physical life. And beyond that, the prani, once before birth and after death, what is this prani and what happens to that prani, where from it has come, what is that energy, how it is evolved, is spiritualism. And if you see actually today, there are so many people in this country, not elsewhere much, who have lots of these things, who are connected to the universe, who can actually connect to the universal knowledge and get many things and talk about. Somebody can see through you and tell your past and future and present and everything, or say who is who, where is who is how. It is spiritualism or science, what it is. There we can find a number of people in the country who can say this, who are connected to the, now whatever we call it in the present day world, cloud. The data is in the cloud, you connect it. Now whereas here, the data is in the universe, is in the space, you connect it to it, you have the power to connect it, you can see through the past, you can see through the future also. In fact, if you look at it, there are many things now today, scientifically, technologically, people have been going through. Look at probably 100 years back, people would not have believed what it is hypnotism. Now people accepted hypnotism, then accepted meditation, yoga, siddha, yogic sciences, siddha-based sciences. They're all called sciences, yogic sciences. And that's how things are evolving today and going through. And if you look at, when we go to particularly Ramchandra Mission or go to Art of Living, there are children, youngsters, who are actually developed for intuition powers. I have myself personal experience. Many boys, many young children, blindfold, they can see everything in front of them what it is. They can read what is the paper inside and say who is who, where is what and all that, and things like that. Similarly, they can tell what type of person he is, what is his background, probably which he belongs, where he belongs also. He is a trained power. Similarly, there is a program called Kalagyan. That Kalagyan actually is trained people who can look into you in the time domain. They can look into the past, they look into the present, they can look into the future, not astrologically, or I am talking about as looking into the time domain as a Kalagyan, trained people are coming. So what I am saying is, the gap, whatever we think, is thinning down. There is nothing like science and spiritualism separate. They are connected. In fact, a person, a scientist, who has got spiritual mind, who has got more meditation powers and more than that, whatever tapa powers, and look into it, which are not yet come into the picture, will be able to do very best in his scientific endeavors. In fact, there are now many courses have come. IIT Hyderabad has got a course called Heritage Sciences, teaching many of the things, whatever ancestrally what we had sciences, and these type of sciences. There are many institutes which have come into this type of things. Similarly, spiritual person, if he has got a scientific mind, analytical mind, logical mind, and then he is able to evolve himself much better as a spiritual person. So this is what it is. So there are completely interlinked, helping each other, probably science particularly, more and more knowing about the truth, the universe, the universal energy. That is how it is evolving. So as Swamiji said, the science should be evolving more and more faster, quicker and quicker, making themselves more and more open-minded to the things, not cutting off based on the present existing equation alone. Look at the whole universe and trying to find out the real truth scientifically. This is what I feel. Second part of it, I also thought for this audience, having heard from Honorable Minister Jitendra Singh Ji, I thought having come from defense background, little bit to tell about the developments, what has happened in the country in the defense scenario. All of you know, few decades back, this country was completely importing the equipment and arms, ammunition, weapons. That was the situation. We were only, even DRDO was testing, evaluating them and all that. And over years, a lot of R&D has gone in, and particularly in the last 10 years, with Atmanirbharta and Make in India, a concerted effort to develop many things in the country have made this country today stand tall in the world as one of the top countries in the world who have the defense technologies and systems produced. Today, I'll tell you, in the technologies of missiles, we are one of the first 4 or 5 countries in each type of a missile. Whatever USA has got, whatever America has got, whatever China has got, this country has got almost all of those missiles, or we are developing those missiles in this country, standing tall along with them today. Just one example, the anti-satellite test what we have done, knocking of a satellite in the low Earth orbit, that itself is an experiment, such a precise experiment, very complex experiment, made this country the 4th country after America, Russia and China, and we became that. Similarly, in the ballistic missile defense, any types of missiles. And we didn't have an aircraft. We struggled to make an aircraft, and LCA Mark I, the Tejas aircraft is made, and it has become such a fantastic aircraft today that the Indian Air Force has given 123 aircrafts order, largest order on Hindustan Aeronautics Limited for aircrafts, and 100 more it is processing now, making it 223 aircrafts. With this capability, today the government has sanctioned, and the work is progressing so fast on the heavier version of Tejas Mark I, LCA Mark II, and the most advanced 5th generation fighter aircraft called Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, and a naval aircraft which calls twin engine fighter, deck-based fighter aircraft. If once we acquire this, which I am sure within the couple of years we should be able to acquire, we become one of the 3rd country in the world or 2nd country in the world which have made this type of aircrafts. This is one thing. Friends, you know, we didn't have a gun in this country. We never made a gun. You all know that we imported Bofors gun. Now today, we made a gun, a 155 artillery gun. Two industries, Bharat Forge and Tata, are producing that country. And that gun, last year, Independence Day at Red Fort, it was used in the ceremonial firing. And Honorable Prime Minister said that day, 75 साल के बाद आज लाल किला पे स्वातंत्र के अवसर पर देश में बनाया का गन का आवाज आपने सुनाया है. And this gun, today, we are very proud. This gun, whatever the shell has got the range, no other gun in the world has got. This is the longest range gun in the world what India has made. Similarly, if you look at it, in Bombay there is a laboratory. For submarines to stay in water for more than few days, conventional submarine, you require a technology called, a special technology called air independent propulsion that makes the submarine stay underwater for 15 days. This is only one country in the world has got Germany. Now the second country is India, has made it and it is getting into our submarine. India has become second country in this. Look at the new technologies which are coming up. Quantum technology, which actually in the science and spiritualism truly it comes, because that is one thing which is evolving, cosmology, quantum technology, entangled photons. A photon here and thousands of kilometers away, another photon, they are entangled, anything done here, it gets affected, sort of a thing. That technology, India is probably the second country or third country which has demonstrated the communication over 100 kilometers on a dark fiber between Vindhyachal and Prayagraj by youngsters, a startup along with DRDO and IIT Delhi. That is the quantum technologies. Today, there are at least 10 startups in the quantum technology today. We have built our own aircraft carrier where aircrafts can land and take off, completely ours, with more than 80% indigenous content, built, commissioned by Honorable Prime Minister, called INS Vikrant. So many things, so many technologies, so many systems have come. Now today, confidently one statement I'll give. We are self-reliant in the areas of missiles, radars, sonars, torpedoes, AWACS systems, electronic warfare systems, aircrafts, guns, tanks, communication systems, submarines, ships. These are all, India is completely self-reliant. And now today, where it was almost 80% imported content in the armed forces once upon a time, now the indigenous content has become more than 60% in the armed forces today. And where we were a largest importing country of the arms, we started exporting now. Last year we exported, before year, 2022-23, 16,000 crores worth of defense equipment. And this year, 2023 and 24, our country has exported 21,000 crores of equipment, and lots of inquiries are coming from the world. And I am very sure in the coming couple of years or next 5 years, India will be one of the leading countries which is going to export. This is the way the technologies are emerging and country is developing systems and all that. And India is going to be a leader by 2047 in defense technologies, that I am very confidently telling you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Dhanyavad Satish ji. We are coming to an end of this session. As Satish ji rightly mentioned, the gap between science and spirituality is thinning, modern science that is, and let us hope that it will be bridged sooner than later. Now, I request Mayank Barjatya ji to express the vote of thanks, followed by some Suchanas by Arvind Ranade ji and Shanti Mantra by Kompella Shastri ji.
माननीय स्वामी श्रीकानंद जी महाराज साहब, डॉक्टर सतीश रेड्डी जी, भाटकर सर, कराड़ सर, मांडे सर और सभी उपस्थित महानुभावों को सादर नमस्कार। आज के इस महत्वपूर्ण अवसर पर मैं सभी को अंतर्दिल से धन्यवाद व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं। इस आयोजन को सफल बनाने के लिए आप सभी की उपस्थिति और सहयोग अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण रहा है। सबसे पहले मैं स्वामी श्रीकानंद जी महाराज का हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं। रामकृष्ण मठ पुणे से आपकी आध्यात्मिक उपस्थिति और प्रेरणादायक विचारों ने हमें नई ऊर्जा और दिशा दी है। आपके आशीर्वाद और ज्ञान से हम सभी समृद्ध हुए हैं और इसके लिए हम आपके लिए अत्यंत आभारी हैं। आदरणीय मंत्री डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह जी ने अभी आपके सामने बात की। उन्होंने हमें प्रोत्साहन और मार्गदर्शन दिया और विज्ञान और प्रौद्योगिकी के क्षेत्र में नई संभावना के द्वार खोले। आपके मूल्यवान विचार और सहयोग के लिए हम दिल से आभारी हैं। डॉक्टर सतीश रेड्डी जी, डीआरडीओ के पूर्व अध्यक्ष के रूप में आपके नेतृत्व में जो उपलब्धियां हासिल की गई है वो हमारे लिए प्रेरणा का स्रोत है। आपकी उपस्थिति हमारे लिए गौरव की बात है और हम आपके योगदान के लिए हर हृदय से धन्यवाद करते हैं। डॉक्टर कराड़ सर, जो इस अत्यंत विशाल स्तूप के स्थापति हैं, ये पूरे एमआईटी प्रांगण के आर्किटेक्ट हैं। मैं आपको, एमआईटी को और यहाँ के सभी कार्यकर्ता, नॉन एकेडमिक एकेडमिक स्टाफ का भी हार्दिक धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। और आपको ये एक बात बताने के लिए मेरे अंदर से विचार आया है कि सेंटर स्पेस में जहाँ पे आपने घंटी देखी है, ये इसका एक एनर्जी स्रोत है। क्योंकि मैं जियोबायोलॉजिस्ट हूँ, मैंने यहाँ पे खड़े होकर एनर्जी को फील किया है। कभी भी आपको समय मिले, आज कल जब भी आप यहाँ हैं, तो नंगे पाँव यहाँ खड़े होकर 2 मिनट 2 सेकंड ध्यान करें और इस ध्यान केंद्र की अत्यंत जियोबायोलॉजिकल, जिसको हम कहते हैं भौगोलिक ऊर्जाओं को फील कर सकते हैं। तो ये एक बहुत ही चमत्कारी और अद्भुत क्रिएशन है। इसके लिए सर, दिस इज़ अ रियली एक, मैं बोलूँगा, एक हमारे हिंदुस्तान के लिए एक आर्किटेक्चरल मार्वल है ये। और आप इसमें यहाँ पे आए हैं, हम लोगों का वी आर एक्चुअली ब्लिस्ड टू बी पार्ट ऑफ दिस होल एनवायरनमेंट। अंत में मैं सभी उपस्थित महानुभावों, आयोजकों और स्वयंसेवकों का धन्यवाद करूँगा, जिनके अथक प्रयासों से ये आयोजन सफल हो पाया है। आपके टोटल डेडिकेशन और मेहनत के बिना ये दिन और ये पूरा अधिवेशन सफल नहीं हो पाता। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
कुछ सूचनाएं हैं और ये सूचनाएं महत्वपूर्ण इसलिए हैं कि इसमें से अगर आप कुछ मिस करेंगे तो आप में से कुछ असुविधाएं हो सकती हैं। सर्वप्रथम अभी इसी प्रांगण में लगभग 10 मिनट के ब्रेक के बाद सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम होने जा रहा है और वो कार्यक्रम कृष्ण के जीवन के आधारित ऐसे कृष्णायन नाम का कार्यक्रम है। द फर्स्ट अनाउंसमेंट इज after a 10 minutes break in the same place there will be a cultural event. It's on the life of a Krishna, which is around 20 to 35 minutes. So we'll get a break of 15 minutes, that 10 minutes, you will have to come back. In between, I request all the governing council which was declared in the morning, all are requested to get assembled at 7:45 just below this auditorium in the library hall. Governing council consists of president, vice president, patron, mentor, all the governing council member, organizing secretaries, national organizing, joint organizing secretaries, all are requested to get assembled at 7:45 in the library hall just below this main auditorium. In the morning, we released a souvenir. Each one of you is curious to get the copy. Each one of you will get the copy. We will announce in the morning what are the arrangements that we have made from where you can collect. हमने आज एक स्मरणिका प्रकाशित की गई है और वो स्मरणिका जो है वो आप सबको उसकी कॉपी मिल सकती है। उसकी व्यवस्था हम कल सुबह करने जा रहे हैं और आपको बताया जाएगा कहाँ में मिलेगी। तो आपके अवश्य वो स्मरणिका की जो कॉपी है वो अपने पास लेके जाइए। विज्ञान भारती का पूरा इतिहास, भविष्य और वर्तमान और भारत को हम किस तरीके से विकसित करना चाहते हैं उसके सभी विचार आप जरूर पढ़िए और उसको अनुकरण करने की कोशिश करिए। इसी प्रांगण में लाइब्रेरी के फॉयर एरिया जो है वहाँ पे भोजन की व्यवस्था है। कल्चरल इवेंट्स के बाद वहाँ पे भोजन होगा और वो कल्चरल इवेंट जैसे ही खत्म होगा उसके बाद ही भोजन शुरू किया जाएगा और उसके बाद अपने अपने जगह पर जाने की व्यवस्था, गाड़ियों की व्यवस्था की गई है और वहाँ से कल वापस आने के लिए की व्यवस्था है। उसकी सूचना अपने अपने हॉस्टल में पहुंचाई गई है और समय सारणी दी गई है। उसी के अनुसार गाड़ियां चलेगी और उसका निश्चित रूप से पालन करिए क्योंकि लगभग हम 1200 से ज़्यादा कार्यकर्ताओं का यहाँ पे निवास है। तो सब लोग उसी सूचना का पालन करते हुए नई विनती ना करें। All are requested to follow the timetable given in your respective hostels for the ferries of various travel arrangements made by our organizing team in this premises of MIT ADT. Those karyakartas who are going to leave tomorrow to their respective places and would like to have the food packets, all are requested to communicate your requirements to your respective secretaries, प्रांत secretaries. जितने कार्यकर्ता कल हमारा समापन कार्यक्रम के बाद यहाँ से प्रस्थान करने वाले हैं और जिनको भोजन के पैकेट्स की आवश्यकता है, ऐसे कार्यकर्ताओं ने अपने प्रांत के सचिवों के पास ये सूचना देनी है और सभी प्रांतों के सचिवों से अपेक्षा है कि वो नंबर आज रात में कलेक्ट करती है। डॉक्टर मानसी मालगांवकर जी जो यहाँ की पश्चिम महाराष्ट्र की सचिव हैं, उनके पास ये नंबर आज रात में पहुंचा दीजिए ताकि कल आपके पास इसकी व्यवस्था की जा सके। और अंतिम सूचना, इस कार्यक्रम के बाद कल का कार्यक्रम जो है बिल्कुल 9 बजे शुरू होना है और इसलिए कि कल की भी बहुत सारा कार्यक्रम है और वो समय पे चलना हमारी ज़रूरत भी है और हमारी पहचान भी होनी चाहिए। इसलिए अपेक्षा ये है कि आप सभी लोग कल इसी प्रांगण में, इसी हॉल में 8:45 या ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 8:50 तक यहाँ उपस्थित हो। सभी के नाश्ते की व्यवस्था, ब्रेकफास्ट की व्यवस्था आज जहाँ आप लंच डिनर ले रहे हैं उसी जगह होगी, लगभग 7:30 बजे से शुरू होगी। तो आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल द कार्यकर्तास टू बी इन द सेम प्लेस around 8:45 or maximum 8:50 tomorrow so that we can start the session at precisely at 9 o'clock, so that there is a huge agenda that we need to ensure that we complete in a time, and we should make the habit to be on the time, and we need to be in the time. So I request all of you to be in the place tomorrow at 9 o'clock. तो ये सभी सूचनाएं अपेक्षा है कि आपको सबको समझ में आई होगी और आप सभी सूचनाओं का पालन करते हुए आप इसका पालन करके कार्यक्रम को सुविधाजनक बनाएंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
सभी स्थान ग्रहण कीजिए। बीच में जो खड़ा हुआ है वो भी सावधान। शांति मंत्र से आज का ये पहला दिन का सत्र समाप्ति होगा, इसलिए सभी को सावधान से बैठना है इच्छानुसार ध्यान स्थिति में। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम शांति 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 ही।
सूचना है, सभी के लिए एक और सूचना है। ये एकेडमिक सत्र यहाँ पर ख़त्म हो रहा है, लेकिन इसके बाद एक कल्चरल इवेंट होने वाला है कृष्णायन नाम का, तो उसके लिए आप छोटा ब्रेक लेके आ सकते हैं। एक्चुअली कार्यक्रम इमीडिएटली चेयर्स स्टेज बनाने के बाद शुरू होने वाला है, तो आप यहाँ पर आकर बैठ सकते हैं। देयर इज़ अ क्विक अनाउंसमेंट, दिस इज़ एन एंड ऑफ academic sessions, but there will be a cultural event called namely Krishnayan, which will be starting immediately after this. So please be seated for that over here itself. Thank you.